Hey everyone, Inkwelder here for round one of the 90s MTG Webcam League, and I'm changing up the format for this one a little bit, trying to explain the matchup a little bit more, and then just the general approach and how I play it in sideboard, etc. So this is against 4-color control, and this is generally a very favorable matchup for painters, for any painter deck, but especially red painter, because we've got red blast, but we also have so much value from Urza Sagas. I don't think we dropped a single match in Eternal Weekend, right? So my opening hand for this game was basically 2 Urza Sagas, Painter and Ancient Tomb, with Fury, Great Furnace, and Badlands. And while I've got 5 lands, this hand has a very clear plan of being able to do a fast combo with Painter Grindstone, with Sagas fetching the Grindstone, or making constructs. And I've also got Fury to answer a creature to back up the Saga attack vector. And it's also pretty immune to Wasteland and also pretty immune to Thoughtseize as well. So just overall, it's a strong hand that does a lot. So I choose to run out Ancient Tomb Painter first versus an Urza Saga line. And this is because I don't know what I'm going to draw. And being able to make sure that I'm using my Urza Saga, like generating constructs every turn, is generally important to me. And if I play Urza Saga first, I'm not doing anything my first turn, and then I play Ancient Tomb, and I'm now locked into making a construct on turn 2 and 3, generally, and I'm not going to have enough mana to like efficiently run out Painter and such. And so even though my Painter gets answered, right, and seeing Tundra is great, because maybe they're Breakfast, maybe they're Staff of the Storyteller deck, the new one, 4-color control. There's a lot of decks that play Tundra, but none of them are really combo decks specifically. And so that's where Saga, generally the Saga Beatdown plan shines the most. And so here I'm able to just take it slow. There's no reason for me to try to like cast any spells at this point, because the way that you beat 4-color control is just off of card economy. So Urza Saga is a 3-for-1, right, generally. And they need Dress Down to answer that efficiently, and they don't run 4 of them, at least not main deck, they don't. And they also need to find it. They have so many other answers, and those other answers don't answer Saga efficiently. And so I can start pumping out constructs. When I see the Volcanic on their side, and they're now going to fetch a Tropical, the Tropical is what tells me that they're on 4-color control. The Volcanic, I would have thought maybe they're Jeskai, and that still would mean Jeskai control or Staff of the Storyteller. But seeing the Trop, yeah, they're 4-color control. And so this is where they will tend to look for things like Uro or Planeswalkers to start getting that card economy back, right? Because if I'm getting 3-for-1s off my Sagas or 2-for-1s off my Goblins and, weld type effects, Dragon Engine is a 3-for-1, generally 4-for-1, right? So really important that they start to pull back with that. And so I'm really just going to focus on beating down with Dragon Engine. I remember drawing like another Urza Saga as well as a Mox Opal. Not sure what else I drew, but you can see like the Great Furnace was the first red mana I played, and it was primarily just to pump up the construct. So there's Uro, and I don't really mind Uro like going there. It puts a land in, so okay, great. They've got 2. And so they might have Dress Down, right? It's possible they drew Dress Down. They're now double fetching, and they fetch for a Plains and an Island. Again, sort of reiterating, okay, they may have it. They may have the Dress Down to answer all my constructs efficiently. But at the end of their turn, I'm able to make a 4th construct. I've never had this much investment stick around, right? And so they've obviously just got sort of a probing hand and just very cantrip heavy type hand, with very little removal. So I just grabbed Lotus Petal because there's no reason to expose anything. And I also, off the first Saga, I was able to get Soul Guide Lantern just in case they did go fetch Uro or have Uro. I could answer it. So if they do have Dress Down here, I can sack Soul Guide Lantern end of turn and get rid of their Uro. So really, like, this is why they struggle with Painter Servant decks, because we just attack from so many different angles and we can efficiently answer their threats. So sideboard, we've got Magus of the Moon. I bring in 3 of those, a Pithing Needle and a Defiler. Defiler answers their nonsense Planeswalkers, especially Comet, Stellar Pup. Needle also answers them. I get rid of 2 bolts, a petal, and 2 spirit guides, and that's because bolt answers Minskin Boo, but it doesn't really do much else. And the fast mana, these games can sometimes go long, and so the fast mana, especially on the draw, doesn't do a lot. Opening hand here is very red light. My only red mana is Lotus Petal, but I've got a Saga plan, and I can basically run out a Welder, and I'll be able to get Dragon Engine out there with the Lotus Petal. And so if my Welder sticks around, I'm still able to flood the board, which is helpful, right? That's why I want to keep that hand, is that I can play a turn 1 Welder. And if they answer the Welder, it's fine. I've got Urza Saga tokens, and I've got a Dragon Engine that I can run out. If Welder doesn't get answered, I'm able to go off, because I've got the Lotus Petal, to go in my graveyard. And the Petal into my graveyard will let me cast Dragon Engine and start swapping it back and forth with Petal. So still a very viable plan here, even though I don't have any red mana. Thankfully, I grew Great Furnace, which is like the best possible draw. Because I can swap it on turn 2 with a Goblin Engineer and immediately get like Brea or Chaos Defiler. So they don't, these decks, the 4-color control decks, don't tend to like apply pressure, which is, it's just another reason why we have a good matchup. We can win out of nowhere, and we also have this beatdown plan, and there's just too many things for them to answer with different cards. If one card answered all of them, like maybe Brotherhood's End is probably the best bet, but it's double red, and so it hasn't really gotten a lot of adoption from these 4-color decks. There isn't like necessarily a great option to wipe the board when I start going nuts. So I run out my Saga and the Engineer, and that forces a plow on their side of the Welder. And so this means I'm not going to get Defiler. I have Dragon Engine in hand, and so I may as well just put Brea in there. I'm starting to play Brea again just because I expect more Merit Lage decks, more need. I got rid of Ensnaring Bridge in my board, and so I just figured Brea is better to answer certain specific strategies versus Bridge, which counters my own strategy sometimes. Like last game, if I had Bridge, I would have been hosed. They're able to fetch. They've got 3 lands now, and I do think they run out Uro here. Yeah, so there's Uro, and the big key thing here is that there's no land drop. So I immediately know they've got no land in hand, and they didn't counter my Engineer. So I'm not necessarily sure what they have exactly, but their hand's not good. In at least from what I can tell, maybe they've got expensive Planeswalkers is what they have. So I can just play a mountain, and I'm going to play the Saga game, right? I want to get my my Saga out. And there's no reason to cast Dragon Engine here, right? There's no reason to extend into a Force of Will when I'm able to make a construct. And so they brainstorm, and I snap Pyroblast it because I don't want them to fix their hand. They showed weakness when they didn't put a land in, and so I don't want them to fix their hand at all and potentially try to find more lands to set up their future turns. So it's not the best to counter those kinds of cantrips and stuff, but whenever your opponent shows weakness, I like to double down and just try to force the issue. So I did draw Painter, and so my plan was to play Painter. I've got Ancient Tomb in my hand, and that I was going to surprise grind them after my combat phase, but they countered the Painter, so it slows me down a turn. I don't have enough mana, and so I just run out Great Furnace because I want to protect the Ancient Tomb. But now here is showing the other threat of the deck of, yes, I can attack and beat down, but I've also got the combo in my graveyard, and my Dragon Engine isn't going anywhere, right? They tapped out to get Uro out, and they still didn't have a land drop, telling me again that their hand isn't the best. So they were trying to stabilize against the construct, but now I've got Painter out there. I'm able to run out the Ancient Tomb. I actually drew Red Blast this turn. And so you can sort of see how I've just completely flooded the board. And even if they had removal, there's still so many pieces. And so they need different answers to each of those. And so I do activate the Grindstone. I'm expecting an Endurance in their upkeep here. That's basically how they get out of this. is shuffling their yard back in, which would be fine. They didn't have Gaia's Blessing or Emrakul, and yeah, my opponent jokingly swords is their own Uro, and I get there. Again, just a really good matchup for Painter. I'm curious if you like this format. I did a little bit of editing to show my hands and stuff, but otherwise GG's with my opponent PF. It was a lot of fun, and yeah, let me know what you think of the format. And yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you enjoy. If I get more if I record more general matches, I may try to do like 5 casual webcam games and stitch them together to have like a legacy league type feel, so that you get 5 games with the deck instead of these like quick one match type things. But these are quick and digestible generally. So anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. Take care. Hope you have a good day. Take care. Bye.